Hi everyone, it's Teresa with Crafty with Teresa. Thank you so much for joining me today. Well, today we're actually going to be going over the July Sweeter Than You Paper Pumpkin Card Kit. Now, I fell in love with these cards, but I unfortunately just ran out of time in the month of July with previous obligations, and of course, if you watched my last video, you knew I was fighting a summer cold. Well, that just took it out of me for a bit. So I'm just now getting this video out, but I really like how the cards turned out. The designs from Stampin' Up! Are just cute as they can be, or cute as a button, as is what I always say to my grandkids. Now I have alternatives also. However, just in case I can't get them into this video, I will put them out in a short video or a post for you. Now, enough of my chatting. Let's get to crafting. Now, let's take a look at some of the supplies. I'll just show them to you real quick. The great thing about these kits is they come with adhesive, ink spots, they come with a stamp set, they come with cards, ephemera, envelopes, places to stamp your sentiments. So much comes in this kit. Now I'm going to do these things in an assembly line, so I'm going to do things a little bit out of order first. For me, my best practice is when I plan to do things in an assembly line, I do all my stamping first. So what I'm showing you here today is that I have this photo album sheet. I've shown it to you in the past, but if you haven't seen it, I have a sentiment binder that has all of these sheets in there that have that just enough stick to where you can stick items in there and still peel them off. Well, I use that binder for my sentiment binder, and it's actually an old photo album that we used to have years ago. So I grab all of the sentiment pieces. You've got die cuts, you have strips, you have circles, and even some of the strawberry die cuts. And I grabbed all of those and put them in this binder. And I also put them in a straight line, and they're organized by card. So our first card, we're going to actually do Hello Friend. Now I'll grab my stamp blocks and I'll put all of the sentiment or phrases onto those stamp blocks, and then we'll get started stamping. So we'll start with Hello Friend, and then we'll go through and we'll put the other stamp block, we'll ink it up, and then we'll put in Lots of Love. Now I did go ahead and stamp all of the pre-cuts. Whether I'm going to use them in this card set or not, I went ahead and used those. I'll just put them in my sentiment binder if I don't use them, but I'll use the majority of these today. If I don't do them in the cards that I'll be showing you, they'll be put in those alternates that I mentioned earlier. Now, I believe I've mentioned this in the past, but I put all of my cards in one envelope, and the envelope that goes along with the card bases, and all the ephemera will go into one clear envelope. And this is the one for number 1. And you'll see I grabbed those sentiment strips and I put them in that clear envelope so that all I have to do is grab all those pieces and glue them down as shown in the directions. Now I'm going to stick pretty close to the directions for these cards here today, because sometimes that's really all you need is what they've shown you. You don't have to make alternates. I do sometimes because it depends on who I'm making those cards for. We'll grab some of that double-sided tape and put it on the back side of the strawberry die cut. Now I want to point out just a little trick. When you're working with vellum, it can be tricky because you want to make sure your tape and your glue does not show, or at least that's the way I prefer it. So what I'll do is wherever I place the double-sided tape. I'll make sure to place it in the same place on the actual vellum. Before I do that, I'll go ahead and put the little glue dots onto those cute little flowers, and I'll then add the dimension onto Hello Friend. Now back to the vellum in our beautiful strawberry die cut. I'll add that to the vellum, and once I do so, I'll go ahead and flip that over and add the double-sided tape to the vellum, placing them exactly or as close as can be to where they are on the strawberry die cut. Take a look. Now, if you're worried about those edges, don't worry, I have a plan for those. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all of the other elements and touch those pieces that do not have tape on them on the round corners and edges, and I'll be using the ephemera or the sentiment to kind of secure those down. Hope that makes sense. Take a look. Now, this card is ready to go. I think it turned out cute, and I will tell you that I showed my husband all of the cards, and this was his favorite. He liked the other ones, but this one was his favorite. Now we'll get started on card number 2. This one is really simple, and it's going to be a thank you card. We'll grab the sentiments that we've stamped, grab the scallop circle that says thank you, and of course that little pink sentiment strip that says you're the best. So super easily assembly here. You just add the circle, you grab the strawberry, and you put it to the side, and you add the 2 little flowers, and voila, this card is ready to go. Now, while I'm giving you the last bits and pieces of that card number 2, I wanted to just share with you that in the description box below, I will have the information if you're interested in getting any of these kits. It is called a paper pumpkin kit, and it is by Stampin' Up. And so there are 3, 6, 9, 12-month subscriptions. Now let's move on to card number 3. Now there is one change to card number 3. A lot of it is the same bat time, same bat place. Oh, I think that's the right thing. But there is one thing that I did not catch when I was going through doing my stamping. They actually have you do some stamping onto the card base. And I think this is cute, and I think it's great for people to know how easy and simple this is. So we'll grab the flower and we'll put it on our stamp block, and we'll actually go through and then just stamp a few of those on that base. Now some of them are covered up by the die cuts, but still I think it's a good tip for you. You can always take ink and add what I believe is called tone on tone to this particular card base and give it some texture and add just a little bit extra to your cards. We just did a few, and now we'll take the rest of the die cuts and add those on, and this card will be ready for you. I want to apologize. I guess my battery went dead on my camera, so I missed attaching the final finished product for you. But stay tuned. The finished card is here at the end. And again, you're basically putting tape on the back of those die cuts and placing them down. Now, let's move on to card number 4. I like this one because I think it's cute, the little bucket of strawberries. There are more pieces of die cuts to this one, but it's the same thing. You're basically going to go through and you're going to add your tape to the back of your sentiment onto your die cuts, and then you'll add them onto the card. Again, these cards are easy, but they really are cute as they can be. Now, there you have it. All of the cards that we made are the ones that were built with the instructions in the kit. Now here's where we moved into our alternate cards. Now I will tell you that I did do this a little differently. I wanted a little flap because I'm going to be doing a patchwork double flip flap card. Well, at least one of them is. The other one is more of a double flip flap card. But in order to do that, I wanted just that little bit, that 1/4 of an inch flap that's already there for you. If you remember, an A2 size card is scored at the 4 1/4. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it just shy of 4 1/4, and we're going to cut it at the 4-inch mark so that that one side will actually have the flap for us. And we'll do that on all of these card bases that we're going to use for these alternate cards. Now I have some laminated squares, 2 by 2, 2.5 by 2.5, 3 by 3, and I use those a lot of times to kind of help me determine how I want to possibly cut down the cards when I'm in my creating design mode. So I picked the 3 by 3, and so what I'm going to do is those ones that we cut with that little 1/4 inch flip flap, we're going to cut those at 3 inches. Now in hindsight, I would do this differently. I would have cut it at the 3-inch mark vertically first, but I didn't think about that because I was just rushing through. So now I have two 3 by 3 flaps, which also leaves me with another flip flap, if you will, that will be at 2.5. And you'll see we're going to use both of these in our two alternates for you. And then you can let me know which one you decide you like the best. I'm just making this up as I go, so there's probably someone who has done these in the past, but I did not have an example to go by, and I was just creating to my little heart's desire. So now we have our 3 by 3 flip flaps, and I'm going to cut the second card base the same, and I won't go through that, but just know that it was the same process. And then I'll put my two 3 by 3s together, and then my two 3 by 2.5 pieces together. And for this first card, what we're going to do is we have the strawberry slush cardstock that we have set it up at 4 1/4 by 5.5, basic A2 card size. And so we have that, but we also have a base that we have cut up that is 4 by 5 1/4. And what we're going to do is we're going to attach our flaps to that. I'll grab some of that really strong tape, and I will tell you that I ran out of tape as I went along here, so you'll start seeing me use other types of tapes and glues. But I'm going to add that to that flap. Now I will tell you this, I would make sure to add that to the flap just a little shy of that score, because you do not want it to overlap and keep you from opening that flip flap. Now, once we've attached those flaps, we're going to place that on top of our card base. And then on the inside, we're actually going to do a little bit of a decoration with some of our scraps. We're actually going to take the leftover piece from one of our cuts. We're going to add a little bit of that strawberry paper onto the top of it, and we're going to put it on the inside, and it's going to look similar to a basket, and then we'll put a strawberry inside or on top of it. And this card will be ready to go. Now, in hindsight, I am going to possibly add something else to the inside of that card with the flip flap. My husband and I talked about it, and he's my consultant, non-paid, by the way. So he consults and gives me ideas sometimes. And he and I both agree that we should put something on the inside of the card with the flip flaps, and it might just be some type of sentiment, because we really want the person to actually do the writing on the page that has our cute little decoration on it. Anyway, we're thinking through that. If I get that finished, I'll make that change onto the card and you'll see it here inside this video, hopefully. If not, it'll be in a later post. Now we'll include the thank you, the cute little pink strawberry that has the word thank you, and a flower onto the front of the flap. Now remember, you want to make sure you don't pull it all the way through because they want to be able to open both flaps. We'll add a little flower to that and this card will be finished. At least until I look at it for a few days and possibly think about a change, if I make that change. Now this next card actually is similar to the other one, except we are going to create a patchwork card. I really love patchwork cards, and I'll link in this video a video that I did a long time ago making patchwork cards. It was actually in a One Sheet Wonder video, but I will link that for you. But I am going to do a similar card because it's patchwork, but it's a patchwork, we'll call it flap card. Now we'll go through the same process, except this time we have a white daisy piece of cardstock that is cut to 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to use that as our base for the flaps, and we'll use that to build our patchwork piece that goes below that. What's interesting about this card is the piece that's on the bottom is literally one piece, but I'm going to show you, we're going to actually start this backwards. We're going to put the card base, which is just a strawberry slush piece of cardstock, cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and we're going to place on that cardstock this piece that is the exact same size. Now I think it was cut a little bit differently, so I did have to trim it a little bit, but that's why we're starting with the back first. Then we can always cut down our patchwork card as we go to fit it inside the flaps. This will make sense in just a minute. We'll add that piece onto the back, and then we'll add the sentiment. Love you lots. Next, I did grab some other pieces to add to this patchwork because I felt like it needed more. So I took the envelope and I cut the envelope, and you'll see I even have those strange edges here, but that's okay because we're going to cut that patchwork down. But I always use a piece of cardstock to work with so that I don't have to cut the card anymore. It'll just be me cutting down this piece, or base is what we call it. So we're going to go through and add all the different pieces to this and create a cute little patchwork design that will go underneath those flaps. Now remember, these are the flaps that are 2 1/2 by 3. We'll do the same thing. We'll add some glue or tape onto the back of the flap, and this time we're going to place it over the top of the patchwork design. You'll see I reinforced that a couple times. Now we'll trim down that patchwork card before we do any more work onto that card base. Add that last flap. Then we'll add the additional sentiments. And the sentiments that we're going to use on this one will be on the inside on the patchwork design, "You're the best." And then on the front, we're going to add the "Hello Friend." Now I did go ahead and use some dimensionals on the back of that patchwork card because I want this card to be very secure, but I also want to add a little bit of dimension to it so that people will realize that they don't actually open that card, that they flip it over and they write on the back to send to their friend. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I would love to hear if you could comment in the comment section which one of these cards is your favorite. It's interesting because the first one I designed, which is a card base with no patchwork on the inside of those flaps, I wasn't crazy about that idea. So that's why I changed my mind. And then once I created the patchwork design, I thought, oh, that's too busy. So anyway, I can't decide. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. And then I also wanted to mention a coming soon piece of information. I have coming up, hopefully I get it out this Saturday, a scrapbook layout that will be using the design that is in our 2025 annual catalog, and it'll be our August challenge that our team puts together. I'm not sure exactly which pictures I'm going to use yet, but I will get the design done and maybe even get the pictures done with it. And then I also have 2 additional videos coming out. One is showing you more of the cards that are in that catalog sketch. The cards themselves are on page 24, and then the scrapbook layouts are on page 28. But I have 2 additional videos coming out with those 2 sketches. So that's what I have here for you today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you like these videos, if you would subscribe and hit the notification button, like, comment, and share. All of those things help me. So until next time, have a great day.